Wasteland 3, a game that is a sequel to a game that was inspired by a game that was the spiritual successor to your original game. I love Wasteland 3. It gives me a raging hard-on, and I'd love to talk about it. The game, not the hard-on. First off, let me just say that I love classic RPGs, or CRPGs as they're commonly referred to. Games like Fallout, Baldur's Gate, and even newer games like Divinity Original Sin. But I also really enjoy turn-based tactical games, like XCOM or Final Fantasy Tactics, and even Fire Emblem. So if you like these kinds of games, I think you'll enjoy Wasteland 3 regardless of what I tell you in this video. There's one thing that makes Wasteland 3 really stand out to me, and it's the fact that your choices actually matter. You will have encounters that only happen based on previous choices in the game. Sometimes choices that don't seem like they would be significant can in turn cause you to lose access to loot or a quest. There are also multiple factions within the game, and your choices throughout the game will cause you to gain or lose favor with them. I really like this aspect as it gives this game a really high level of replayability. But the aspect I feel is most impressive is the voice acting. Each character feels unique and fleshed out through fully voiced dialogue. It never felt like they recycled the same voice actors often. And even if they did, the actors did a fantastic job of making each character different from their previous roles.
Wait a minute, maybe not. Howdy, Hotlander. Oh, as much fun as it is killing folk long distance, I like it best when the deluge of blood happens up close and personal. You know what I mean? The rest is gonna be sorry he stayed home. He loves him some entrails.
I spent a majority of my time with the game playing on the hardest difficulty, called Supreme Jerk, and rightfully so. This game pulls no punches. But I experimented with each difficulty setting, and I feel this game will be approachable for gamers of any skill level. While the hardest difficulty is tough, it is by no means unfair, and only punishes poor tactical decisions, but also rewards bold moves. By comparison, the easiest setting feels like a trip to Weenie Hut Jr., when even shots with a 29% chance to hit still seem to hit 80% of the time. And with no friendly fire on the easiest setting, you can really set up some disgusting multi-kills. At the start of the game, you'll get to make 2 rangers, and then after the intro tutorial segment, you'll get to make 2 more before getting into the bulk of the game. And while I want to be as spoiler-free as possible when giving a review, I will say this. You're going to want to spread out your skills and only focus on about 3 skills per ranger. I say this for multiple reasons. 1, while ammo is not as scarce as it was in previous Wasteland titles, you're still going to be running out of ammunition if everyone in your party is using the same weapon and the same ammo type. And second, you may miss out on loot or find some quests difficult or impossible to finish if you lack the points in a certain skill. So it's best to have a squad of specialists that focus on 3, maybe 4 skills apiece. With that being said, let's talk about the combat. It's very straightforward. Find cover, or don't if you have a certain build, and shoot the bad guys until they become yet another of the thousands of splattered meat piles you're going to be leaving across the Colorado snowscape. During combat, each of your rangers will be assigned a set amount of action points based on their attributes each turn, and use these action points to perform actions, such as shooting their gun, moving across the battlefield, reloading their weapon, or using items. But not all encounters will require you to use brute force. Some situations can be resolved simply by having characters with high points and conversational skills, kiss ass, and hard ass. So I wouldn't go ignoring these skills. While Wasteland 3 is a fantastic game, it does have its flaws, and I won't ignore them, but they are rather minor in my opinion, such as strange bugs where items mysteriously leave your quick item slots, or missing floating text when interacting with traps or other objects on the map. but most of these are so few and far between that I don't feel that they are in any way a hindrance in the overall quality of the game. Though with any game that has some random elements of chance, I highly recommend saving before and after combat, as well as before entering new areas. Or you could just be like me and scum save using F5 to quick save every 5 minutes. Though I would advise against save scumming to avoid what you deem a bad decision in conversation. Just own those choices and see where the outcome leads you at the end of the game. You can always start a new game and see where those choices lead. All in all, Wasteland 3 is a solid experience, with its simple inventory system, where you don't have to worry about who is holding what, or the game's nice approach to exploration, which is done via an upgradable vehicle, with a mounted weapon usable in random encounters, and a few map locations as well. Parts of the world map will be inaccessible at the start, via a radiation mechanic, which is meant to keep players from wandering too far into one-shot kill territory until they have further leveled up their party. With that being said, I'll leave you with a couple of spoiler-free tips to get you started in the Wasteland. The first tip is to save a little bit of your money so you can upgrade your vehicle as soon as possible. I had reached a point in my game where I had spent most of my money on new weapons and new armor, but couldn't advance the story because I couldn't traverse through the radiated zones with my vehicle in its unupgraded state. Second is, unlike most RPGs, the intelligence attribute does not give +1 skill point every time you level up. The +1 skill point is a one-time bonus for every 2 points in the stat, so don't overinvest early on unless you're looking to build a high crit chance character. Third is one I mentioned briefly before, but save often. You'll thank me later, in case an unforeseen bug or combat encounter goes horribly wrong. I can't count how many times that the enemy got the first initiative and just blew my entire party away. In closing, Wasteland 3 is a fantastic romp through the post-apocalyptic remains of snowy Colorado that I feel every RPG and strategy gamer alike will enjoy. If you enjoyed this video, just let me know by leaving a like and maybe a comment. If you really want to support the channel, hit the sub button and get notified when I put out new videos. Also, if you'd like to chat with me live, you can always catch me on twitch.tv/micromanager, where I stream 3 nights a week, playing mostly RPGs, strategy, and adventure games. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.